driving the 2019 X3 up to the mountains, Dolly Sods, West Virginia. This car is a very awesome car to drive. I've got how many miles on it right now? 2,000 and something, pushing 2,500. Yeah, it's actually very surprising to drive as the engine gets broken in more. It's developing more power, and it's pretty quick for a little 4-cylinder, 2-liter turbocharged engine. And you know, it's interesting. I got a really good deal on this car. I paid 38 and change for it. No trade, that's the actual price once you figure in the rebates and discounts and stuff. The only two options this one has are the heated seats and the heated steering wheel, which is that button right there. And anyway, yeah, it's been really a joy to drive. I've found that if you go like 62 miles an hour on level ground, you can actually average 40 miles to the gallon in this, which is super impressive. Overall, everything with a lot of aggressive driving and a bias towards highway driving, I'm getting about 28 miles per gallon overall. Generally speaking, you're going to get about 30 on the highway driving at normal speed limits. I mean, that can vary between 65 and 70 and whatever. Of course, it drops way off as you start pushing 80. It's got a very good feeling steering weighting. The weighting of the steering changes very notably when you switch it to sport mode. Hopefully you can see that. There's a button there. Really firms everything up, and it changes the way that the car performs. It holds gears longer, and actually it's interesting at nighttime when you switch to the sport mode, the typical BMW reddish orange of everything, the speedometer turns to white even at night. But that's also another cool feature. When it gets dark, all of this white that you see here turns to the BMW, even that turns to the BMW red orange. I'm sure there's a name for that color. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I couldn't pass up the deal on this. I had actually test driven probably 50 cars before I ended up deciding on this one, and it was actually the new 3 Series that just came out recently was also a consideration as well, and I liked that. But when they presented me with the numbers on this, it ended up being about $7,000 off. I just couldn't pass it up, because at that kind of a number, when you're buying a car like this, that more or less wipes out the whole first year of depreciation when you can get deals like that. You know, and I read or watched something on YouTube recently about people, it was a comparison with like Hyundai Tucson, Toyota RAV4, the CR-V and stuff like that, and those were all like $40,000, and I'm thinking that you probably couldn't even get that much of a discount on one of those. So ultimately, for like a Hyundai Tucson, you would be paying maybe $36,000, $38,000, which is what I paid for this BMW. And then plus you have the 3 years, 36,000 mile free service and all that. So that, yeah, it was just an absolute no-brainer. And then you know, when you get up even an extra step, like the new Honda, what's it called, the Passport and other things in that class, you know, you're starting to push 50 grand on those things with very little in the way of discounts and so forth. But anyway, that's just my rant. I wouldn't even call it a rant. It's just my raving about this car, and and the kind of deal. So if you're in the market for an SUV, I'm not affiliated with BMW. In fact, I'm kind of a Benz guy, but Benz doesn't really have anything right now that's standing out. And wow, this all looks different now. The rocks are like more eroded and everything. I love coming up here. This place is beautiful. This is also another place I highly recommend, especially coming during the off season and early. It's possible I may be the only person up at the top. But anyway, hopefully the sound was captured on this, because I think it may be coming through my Bluetooth. Oh yeah, that's another thing. The technology integration with my phone in this car, it doesn't have, I have the base model with, like I said, no options other than the heat. It integrates well. It doesn't really have a voice function, but when I push the button on the steering wheel, this one right here, I think I'm pointing at it, looking at the road while I'm driving, it operates my phone. And so I have a Windows phone. I'm one of the few. It operates Cortana, and it integrates seamlessly with the phone. Now this will be a little tricky here. It looks like they filled this all in. That's why you want to bring an SUV up here. I thought about bringing my Lincoln up here, but I don't think that would be a really great idea. But anyway, it integrates so well. It reads the texts. Now I've had other cars where it'll read the texts, but it cuts off in other cars where it says who the text is from, and it goes right to, do you want me to read it? So I never know, in the previous cars I never knew who was texting me. In this one it actually says the whole thing. You got a text from blah blah blah, should I read it or ignore it? Right from the phone. And yeah, it integrates extremely well. So okay, I think that's all I have to say. I'm excited to get up to the top here and walk around, and y'all have a good day.